0-2, Mike. 0-2.
Why? Why did you do that?
We're 0-2 on both of our teams, man.
0-2 and 0-3, by the way.
Oh, gosh, yeah. 0-3. Even better. Even better. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Dimes on Duval presented by Coastal Indoor Golf. He's Mike. I'm Keith. Skyler is out tonight, but it's okay because we're just being negative Nancy's anyway. This is a depressing episode, man.
Let's just try to make it a good episode, but my God, it's been a rough weekend for us as Seminoles fans and Jaguar fans.
Yes.
And it was rough for Gator fans, too.
It was rough. Well, we'll get into that, how rough that was. I mean, last night was great for me, though. I mean, the Packers game was great.
It helped me win a fantasy matchup, so I'm good.
No, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I know. No one cares about your fantasy. Other people's fantasy teams, I know.
Well, we got a pretty good show, though, ahead of us. We've got Gators talk briefly. Mike's got a little take that he thinks is going to be pretty interesting. We have, obviously, some Seminoles and Jaguars talk. We also have an interview with Landon Gentry that Skyler set up and did himself. And then we reintroduce a new segment at the end, too. Or reintroduce a new segment, Keith. Come on now. We bring back an old segment that we used to have. There we go. Gosh, if I could speak, I think I should actually do a podcast if I could talk. Oh, wait, here I am. Anyway, Mike, let's just go ahead and dive in here. We've got the Alabama Crimson Tide defeating the Florida Gators 31-29. I really thought that game was over a lot earlier than it was, and then I checked the score at the end, and wow, I was blown away.
Did you watch the whole game?
No, like I said, I watched when Florida or Alabama was up 21-3 or whatever, and I just kind of was like, all right, I'll just watch other games instead.
Yeah, so obviously, I watched I'd say a good majority of the game due to the fact that also Florida State was on at the same time. So I had the Gator game on the TV because that was the more important game, and the Noles game on my little tablet, and I was just going back and forth, looking up and down, and really quickly the Crimson Tide rolled out to a 21-3 lead. I was like, oh no, this is not looking good for the Gators. And then the game started slowing down. The defense of Florida stepped up, and with that, not even it felt like a snap of a finger. The Gators just got really close and almost took the lead from Alabama. If it wasn't for a missed extra point, which kind of haunt them in the end. But I thought it was a really good game for the Gators. They came back from, like I said, 21-3, and they showed me that they are definitely very close to competing for a national championship. But they are still the second, maybe third best team in the SEC, which isn't good enough to make it to the playoffs more often than not.
Well, looking at Alabama's remaining schedule, they have, as of right now, 4 ranked games. At home versus Ole Miss, at Texas A&M, home versus Arkansas, and at Auburn to finish the season. And they still have to play LSU, which is always a tough game. Does Alabama win out? Do you see any way that they lose, or are they winning at all?
No, they will definitely lose a game. I just don't know if it's going to be Ole Miss or Texas A&M because it is back-to-back weekends. Alabama's about to enter a tough stretch. They just had Florida. They have Southern Miss next week, which should be a joke for Nick Saban. Yeah. And then they got Ole Miss, Heisman contender, favorite, Matt Corral, and Lane Kiffin. Hopefully will be good with COVID by then. And then they got Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies. And they got to travel to Texas A&M. So that's not an easy atmosphere with the 12th man. So these next 2 games, 2 of the next 3, I think is where they get their first loss. I do not think they will lose out until probably the Auburn game. I think they'll take care of Arkansas. I don't think Arkansas – I don't know. I don't know much about Arkansas because I haven't seen it really. I haven't seen them play. I just saw them beat Texas 2 weeks ago, but I don't know. We'll see this week when they play Texas A&M. So
they got their first real test. I mean, yes, Texas is Texas. I mean, we all know that. And then they've played Georgia Southern and Rice. So Texas A&M, and then at Georgia, and then at Ole Miss, and then home versus Auburn. They've got a pretty rough 4.
Yeah, and if they get through all 4 of those games undefeated, then yes, they are a legitimate threat to beat Alabama later this year.
But what if they go 3-1?
We'll see how they win those 3 games. If it's a blowout, last-second win, I don't know. It depends on who they lose to. Because if I was them, I'd rather lose to Georgia than the other 3. Because Georgia is up there. I don't know. The SEC is wide open, I think. I don't think it's as dominant as it has been in the past with Alabama. I do think Alabama will lose a game, but it's just a matter of who will it be. I think they're going to go to the SEC championship with 1 loss. I just don't know against 2.
Here's an interesting one for you. You just mentioned the SEC championship game. I saw a lot of Gator fans, a lot of them, talking about how, all right, Alabama, we'll see you again at the end of the season. That's not surefire. I mean, they're 0-1 in the conference right now. Georgia's 1-0. Obviously, I mean, Kentucky's 1-0 right now. But do you think Florida is going to beat Georgia this year?
They have a good shot. I mean, Georgia has not – the first game of the year against Clemson, their offense was non-existent, but their defense stepped up and balled out. Then the next 2 weeks, they played UAB in South Carolina, put up at least 40 points. Offenses looked more competent. May have taken some time for JT Daniels to get acclimated. He's already had time from last year, but I think it's because he's missing some receivers. It helped. He's getting used to the new receivers. So, I mean, these next 3 games, I mean, Vanderbilt is a joke this week. The 2 weeks after that, Arkansas and Auburn and even Kentucky, we'll see if they can get through, because if they get through those 3, I think they'll take care of Florida. I don't think Florida, unless Florida figures out their quarterback situation, because going back and forth, I mean, they didn't go to Anthony Richardson at all. I didn't see against Alabama. So we'll see if Emory's still the starter by Georgia. Who knows? But if Richardson's in there, I think if Richardson's in there, they'll beat Georgia.
I can't argue that. I think it's going to be probably the best Florida-Georgia we've had in years. I mean, this is going to be a lot of fun. I obviously will be hoping for a Georgia win, but yeah, Georgia seems to really have a lot easier schedule than a lot of other teams in the SEC, playing some not top-tier teams and teams that are surprising like Arkansas. So,
by the way, I don't know if this Georgia-Florida game, it could be the best game, but also the last 3 years all have been top 10 matchups. So I'm not sure. Or I'm sorry, yeah, last 3 years. I thought last year was canceled, but yeah, last 3 years have been top 10 matchups. So, I mean, it could again very well be a top 10 matchup by the time they come down for the cocktail party.
Yeah, but throw the rankings out the window. I think this Florida team is the best of the last 4 years.
Last year I think was better than this year.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Trask was good. But
Trask, they had Kadarius Toney, who was insane. They also had Kyle Pitts, 2 first-round picks.
Sure. But, I mean, I don't know. Something about this Florida team just scares me a little bit more this year. But, hey, I'm actually watching college football this year, so maybe that's why.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I'm not a fan of this Florida team. I don't think they're going to do anything special. But, again, if they do run the table, they have a real shot at the national championship conversation. They've got to beat Georgia, though. That's the biggest threat on their schedule, it looks like. Now, barring they could collapse against, well, they're not going to lose to Tennessee. I doubt it.
Don't speak it into existence. Don't even do it.
Well, I think we wanted to, but anyway. But I don't see them losing a game, honestly, until Georgia, because LSU stinks. Vanderbilt stinks. Kentucky could be a threat. We'll see. South Carolina stinks. Samford stinks. Missouri stinks. And, well, we already know Florida State stinks as well, so.
Wow. Speaking of Florida State, still searching for that first win. Get blown up by Wake Forest, 35-14. Oh, my goodness gracious, man. When it rains, it pours. The wheels have completely fallen off. This is just a truly bad team.
I mean, like I said last week, Wake Forest was a must-win, and we didn't win. Like, I honestly don't see where Florida State – I'm going to pull up their schedule right now, actually, as we're speaking, because I honestly don't know.
While you pull it up, you look that up, but I'm not going to jump into the Jags yet, but who do you think gets a win first?
Between the Noles and the Jags?
Yeah, I mean, the Noles, as you're pulling it up, I've got it here. They play Louisville at home, Syracuse at home, and then go to at North Carolina. That's the next 3 games. The Jaguars are at home versus the Cardinals, at the Bengals, and versus the Titans?
I think the Jaguars win a game before the Noles.
I think they can sneak out either the Bengals or the Dolphins if two.
No, actually, I take that back. Well, I don't know because the Bengals, the Jags, their best chance of a win is honestly next Thursday, but the Noles' best chance of a win is next Saturday against Syracuse. I don't see them beating. Yeah, Syracuse is really, really bad. But I mean, we're really, really bad too.
We had UMass thrown in there.
Yeah, I'm a little worried with UMass. We may lose to them.
I didn't even see they were on there. That was just weird. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the prep game for Clemson.
LOL. And yes, I just said LOL because that is a literal laugh out loud. Just pathetic. It's so sad to look over at the ACC standings and see Florida State at the bottom, 0-3, below Syracuse, below NC State, below Boston College. I mean, who would have thought Boston College would be 3-0 right now? But
well, Boston College will probably start struggling because they just lost their starting quarterback for the year.
Well, that sucks. Poor guy. But looking at this game, nothing good. Dude, there have been 10 turnovers in 3 games. You can't win games doing that.
Not at all. And I honestly think, and I don't know if I don't think I tweeted this, but I think McKenzie Milton, I think we're done with McKenzie Milton. He is not the same passer he was 2.5 years ago, which is not on his fault. Obviously, the leg injury has a lot to deal with it. It could be a mental issue now after the recovery, taking hits. And honestly, behind this offensive line, I don't know why he would want to come here. He should have known that the offensive line has been crap since 2015, 2016. But I don't want to see McKenzie Milton. I'm tired of seeing McKenzie Milton. And honestly, and we're probably going to see McKenzie Milton this Saturday against Louisville, but I would rather see Jordan Travis. And apparently if Jordan Travis is not able to play, they have Chubba Purdy as the backup, I believe was what I saw.
Yeah, we do forget that Chubba Purdy's still around.
Yep, Chubba Purdy and Tate Rodemaker. But I mean, I do want to see what Chubba Purdy has, just so we can see, like, hey, can he at least get us a spark? But
yeah,
we'll see.
I like his brother. I mean,
you do? I don't like his brother. I don't think he's a good quarterback at all.
I mean, I liked it. I just like Iowa State, though. But
fair enough.
11 for 16, and we only threw 22 passes in the game. Granted, we didn't have the ball very much in the game, so that doesn't help either. But not even over 100 yards rushing. You just scroll through and you look, and you just see just, like, sad. You know, McKenzie Milton threw 2 picks and fumbled the ball twice. Like, that's really bad.
There was one play as soon as he came in the game for Travis. First throw was a pick. Like, and he threw it in a triple coverage. Like, I don't understand why McKenzie's trying to force the ball. I think McKenzie's done for. I mean, what sucks for him, he was a great quarterback at UCF, but he's just is not the same quarterback, which is completely understandable. I mean, think about it. Look what RG3 after his bad leg injury a few years ago. It's not the same after coming back. Teddy Bridgewater, not the same when he had his knee injury. Then you have Alex Smith. He had to come back. He looked okay, but he wasn't great. He was never great to begin with. But he was good, but you can see he wasn't the same.
Right.
These leg injuries for some quarterbacks are mentally exhausting. So I wonder if that's affecting McKenzie from the first game where he almost led the Noles to a victory over Notre Dame, and then now getting beaten up left and right. And now I feel like the Noles used all their energy on that Notre Dame game, and then it's just been downhill since then.
Yeah, it's been really hard, and it's been really hard to sit there on Saturday and then wake up the next day and go through the same thing again with the Jaguars. And you just mentioned Teddy Bridgewater. He had basically whatever he wanted against the Jaguars as they won 23-13. He threw for over 300 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions. Teddy seemed like almost old Teddy. Not quite, but like he seemed like he was not having any issues out there.
Yeah, not at all. He definitely looked like to be the right choice at quarterback by Vic Fangio after benching Drew Lock in favor of Teddy Bridgewater. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I actually liked him a lot coming out of the draft. I think he's a solid quarterback. He just needs weapons around him, and he's got some weapons now. Granted, he lost probably his best receiver in Jerry Jeudy, but Cortland Sutton is a damn good receiver, and he's going to really help Teddy Bridgewater out. He's got a running game. Well, not really. They're using 2 running backs.
Javonte Williams. All right. Melvin Gordon's all right.
Yeah, and the offensive line didn't really get much running lanes for them, at least from what I saw during the game on Sunday. But I think Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback. I think gets the job done. He's going to put them in contention, and their defense is pretty damn good.
Right, I agree. Well, you're talking about opening lanes for running. The Jaguars still have a guy named James Robinson on the team, and I think he's the best player on the field, but still only gets 11 carries and goes for 47 yards. Why aren't we giving the ball to James Robinson?
I wish I knew.
I mean, dude, just running in general. They talked about after the first game where they were like, we need to be more balanced. We need to be more balanced. They rushed the ball like 16 times. How is that balanced?
So my thing is they cut the amount of throws from 51 to 33. Great. Cool story. He got sacked once and whatever. But my issue is, so I looked at the drives for the Jags. So the first drive was a scoring drive. They scored. That was a beautiful throw by Trevor Lawrence to Marvin Jones.
Beautiful. Just beautiful.
Beautiful 83-yard opening drive touchdown. Beautiful. Or 83-yard opening drive touchdown. Beautiful. Here are the next drives. -2 yards led to a 3-and-out. 38 yards led to a missed field goal by Lambeau. 7 yards, 3-and-out. 70 yards, impressive drive, missed field goal right before the half. I think it was right before the half. 0 yards, 3-and-out. 23 yards, pick. 1 yard, 3-and-out. 40 yards, pick. And then we had the kick return touchdown, which was the longest in franchise history. We can't – I don't get it. I really do not get it. Why are we so inconsistent? It's literally these drives: touchdown, 3-and-out, missed field goal, 3-and-out, missed field goal, 3-and-out, pick, 3-and-out, pick, touchdown. I don't understand how we're alternating good and bad, good and bad. We actually have decent drives, and we just obviously missed field goal or picks or whatever. And then drive before, it's a 3-and-out. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the play calling, Darrell Bevel's fault, Trevor Lawrence checking out of plays, Urban Meyer not trusting James Robinson. I don't get it. I really legitimately do not get it.
Well, I was taking notes during the game because I wanted to be able to go back and remember things because I know I forget stuff all the time. But Trevor looked way better this game than he did last game, just especially on that first drive. He looked fantastic. But especially in the second half, he looked like he kept having to go for the home run. He kept trying to throw deep balls. He kept trying to throw tight windowed passes. And I thought about it because initially I was like, man, Trevor, what are you doing? But then I'm realizing the wide receivers aren't getting open.
I mean, it doesn't help that Marvin Jones was the leading target getter at 11, then DJ at 4, then James at 3. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They're not, it's hard to get open. Well, Laviska had 7 targets too. But,
I'm seeing Laviska was lower. I don't know why he was lower. Oh, because he had -3 yards. We had more yards than Laviska Chenault.
Yes, we did. But it pains me because, you bring in this guy that's known for fitting in tight windows. And I'm watching Aaron Rodgers last night, and I'm like, I can see Trevor Lawrence making some of these throws, especially that one touchdown pass he had where he's fit in the tightest of windows. It reminded me of the Marvin Jones touchdown. I'm like, wow, look at that window. He put it in there perfectly for him to catch, but you can't expect that kind of play every down. I mean, his one reception to James O'Shaughnessy, he was wide open. That was great. It was like, oh, O'Shaughnessy, let's go, man. Nice job.
And then he got hurt.
Yeah, well, he got hurt on that exact play. And it was like, crap. But, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's frustrating because you want to see these guys all succeed, but how can Trevor succeed if no one's getting open for him? And how can Trevor succeed if they won't run the ball to balance the passing attack, to keep the defense on edge? I mean, I give him credit for at least tucking it twice. He ran for 21 yards, nothing spectacular, but he got into a point where he could actually run the ball a little bit.
My biggest thing is that the opening drive touchdown was an 83-yard drive. We ended with 189 yards. How the hell do we have 106 yards for the next, 3, 6, 8 drives? That is pitiful offense. And everyone's going to be blaming the defense. If people are blaming the defense, it's not on them. The defense is not – the offense cannot have 3 and out every other possession. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, no, it's not acceptable at all. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
What blows my mind is the Broncos dominated the time of possession. They had it for almost 2/3 of the game. They had it for 38 minutes and 52 seconds. We had it for 21:08. They also had 22 first downs. We had 12. They had almost 400 yards of total offense. They had over 300 yards passing. Teddy Bridgewater, I don't remember the last time he had threw for over 300 yards. Actually,
probably been a long time.
I'm about to look that up. You go ahead. Yeah, continue.
Well, you look that up, and I'm looking. We didn't even make it to the red zone, Mike.
Yeah.
No red zone appearances. You can't win ball games without getting in the red zone. I'm sorry. He turned the ball over twice, 2 interceptions. It is what it is. He's not Zach Wilson. They don't look terrible. They're just – I mean, that one interception was just incredible. I still didn't think it was one, but replay says otherwise. Sure, you get a special teams touchdown, which is great, but 7 penalties for 70 yards, still not great, but an improvement. I don't know, dude. It's just so many things going wrong. Sometimes you just have to take it all in. Holy crap, what have we done right? And not much, bro. Not much.
And not even that. It's just like I know I said it's not the defense's fault, but now I'm thinking about the defense also never got any penetration. They could not get to. They couldn't have sacked Teddy. I don't think Teddy got sacked. Did he? Oh, he did. He actually got 3 sacks. Whoops. I missed that.
There was a couple sacks. There was at one point I think it was
I know Josh Allen.
Wingard was in there or something. I was like, whoa, look at Wingard.
Yeah, but my thing is how do you let him? First off, Teddy completed 76% of his passes, 9 yards an attempt. They're throwing shorter routes instead of going deep, and the occasional deep balls we got torched. Cortland's son had one, maybe 2. They just got after it, and I am really getting frustrated with our secondary with these deep passes. But
yeah, how about we touch on that real quick? How come Andre Cisco only gets 18 snaps?
They like Wingard, man. They like Wingard a lot, which a lot of fans don't. I don't know why. And also, this might be an episode for another day or next week's episode. We'll see. We drafted all these players. Why is Walker Little a healthy scratch for the second straight week?
We talk about the play on the field so much that sometimes we forget about what's going on behind the scenes. And those 2 things that we just said. Andre Cisco only playing 18 snaps. They're bringing him along really slowly, I guess. And Walker Little being a healthy scratch. In what world is that a good idea? I don't understand.
Not even that.
Out on the field.
And they probably took the wrong corner in the second round. They took Tyson Campbell over Asante Samuel, who Asante Samuel is now up for a Rookie of the Week nomination. Asante Samuel's looked better in 2 games so far than Tyson Campbell has already.
Yeah.
And to answer the Teddy Bridgewater question, he did actually throw for 300 yards 3 times last year. Did not know that.
Okay.
But
yeah, I forgot Tyson Campbell was even on the field, dude.
Honestly. Yeah, well, I mean, because he stinks. He's not good, and neither is Shaq Griffin, neither is C.J. Henderson. All our corners stink. They're not good. So I don't get it. And then Rayshon Jenkins, too, is okay, but
he's shown improvement. He played that better this week than he did in week 1, but again, the defensive numbers just look so bad.
It's just frustrating. So I don't know what we're gonna do with the defense or the offense because Darrell Bevel is gonna probably drop a game plan for Trevor Lawrence to throw 40 times. So we'll see.
Well, the only part we didn't touch was special teams. Are you before I get into this? Remember, Josh Lambo was Lambo-matic. He was the guy. He made everything. He was the best player on the team, obviously, for a while. And now he is struggling. Are you 100% done with him, or does he have any shot in your eyes?
I think he has a shot. People are tweeting about maybe his personal life is affecting him. I don't know. I don't want to get into that.
Didn't he?
Yeah, he got divorced apparently last year. Man. So that's probably when his performance kind of went down. But I don't know, and I'm not. That's his life. I don't want to get involved with his personal life, blah, blah, blah. But I think give him another week. They're going to give him probably another week. If he doesn't get it right, he'll be gone, and we start looking for a new kicker. I mean, I'm not even – if Lambo struggles, it's kind of reminding me of how Scobie was.
Yeah.
Josh Scobie, like he started off – he's a legend here. He's the best kicker in franchise history. And then near the end, you saw him struggling a little bit. And then and he had a competition with Jason Myers. Jason Myers won the job. They traded Scobie to Pittsburgh. In Scobie's first game or second game with Pittsburgh, he missed 3 kicks. They cut him the next day, and then he retired. And then Myers obviously was inconsistent in his time here, but now look at Myers. He's actually doing really good in Seattle.
Well, he missed an extra point last week. I watched that, and I laughed.
Well, I didn't see that, so thank you for proving my point wrong. But
no. I mean, I hate Jason Myers, so like I had to like.
I didn't mind him. He had a hell of a leg. Anyway, I'm not talking about Jason Myers. Not a Jaguar now, but this is kind of the same thing with Lambo. If he doesn't get it together, he's gonna get replaced, and he's starting to look like the kicker who got cut from the Chargers a few years ago. So I don't know.
And don't get me wrong. With me preceding all of that, I'm with you. I really think that he's got another week, and then that's it. Because I'm a Packers fan. Mason Crosby went through one of these stints. People wanted his head. And look at him now. He's still on the team, and he's still making field goals. I just don't understand all the people that are like, he sucks. He's terrible. It's like, do you guys not realize what this guy's done for this organization? He's been here quite a while now, and he does not suck. He's, like you said, probably going – something in his mental is messing him up, and you give him another week, and that's it. I think you start looking – you can't cut him, like, immediately. I don't think you can do that. You got to try somebody out and maybe, sprinkle him in, but – the people saying he sucks, screw you guys, You guys are just mean. But I think we got through basically everything with the Jags. Do we score over 14 points against Arizona?
Yes.
Does Arizona score over 30 points?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll get to our predictions, obviously, before the game day. Definitely check us out on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook if you don't already. We are at Dimes on Duval for each of those respectively, and you can check out our predictions before the game. We got shit on, for lack of a better term, after our week 1 predictions. Mike and I turned the tide, and Mike, you were actually really close with his last game, I believe. I think you were only like 2 points off, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yay and boo at the same time.
Well, because I also predicted Carlos Hyde of 100 yards rushing. I was 93 yards short.
I tweeted that at you. Yes, I did. I was very amused by that. But, hey, when the Jags don't run the ball, you can't get any rushing yards. So let's get into the little more positive stuff. Skyler, who's not with us tonight, set up an interview with Landon Gentry of Pounds It Golf. He is a long drive professional. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically you bring out a driver, you hit the ball as hard as you can, and hope it goes far and straight, and they measure it. And this guy's very, very good at that. You'll hear more in the interview with that. He has a relationship with Bryson DeChambeau. Mike has a few more colorful words for him, but we'll just call him Bryson. And it's a good interview. I'm really happy with how it turned off. We thank you, Landon, for being a part of the show. We hope to have you on again soon. We hope you the best. I wish you the best of luck in your tournament. And go ahead and take a listen to Skyler as he interviews Landon Gentry.
All right, Skyler Chase here with Landon Gentry, getting an interview for Dimes on Duval. How's it going today?
That's good, man. It's good. I woke up 6 feet on the right side of the ground, so I'm doing really good.
There you go. Yep. Always having a new day, fresh start. Good thing to go about. I guess we'll talk about starts right away then. It's online. Basically, you just got your start from just deciding spontaneously, you're watching TV, that you just want to do long drives. So at that point, you bought a driver head from what I saw. What were the next steps in getting more involved with long drive?
Yeah, I mean, that's one day I was watching the rerun of the Remax World Long Drive Championship way back in like 2002, and my buddy was like, "Dude, you hit it a long way. Why don't you give it a shot?" So I was 21. I went with my parents to the PGA Tour stop at the World Golf Village here down in St. Augustine. Thank God they bought me a driver because I couldn't afford it at 21, and I went online. Back then, Art Sellinger owned it, and it was called Long Drivers of America, and they had a website. So I went on there and found the nearest qualifier, which was Ormond Beach, Florida, at Tomoka Oaks Golf Course or Country Club or something like that. It was the closest one to me. 2 weeks after I bought the driver, I went down there, and I ended up qualifying first. I hit it 388, and I beat everybody by 35 yards. So at that point, I was hooked.
Nice, yeah. I mean, to hit at 388 probably feels good. It's a sensation I don't think I'll ever know. At least if I'm hitting downhill in Colorado or something. But was Pounds It born that day, or where did that come about?
So it's funny. They always say like all the good nicknames, I guess, are always given to you. You can't really give yourself that one. But I think it happened like my second or third year that I was involved in long drive. I still was kind of unknown at that point, just because I really kind of stuck to myself. I was kind of a quiet guy. I just wanted to show up, hit, and leave. Win, and And back then, it was a little bit different. Like if you didn't know the right people, nobody really talked to you. Now long drive is completely different. It's more of a brotherhood than anything. But I was at a qualifier, I think down at Falcons Fire in Kissimmee, and somebody goes, who's that kid in the lead? And they said, I don't know, but he effing pounds it. So that's where Pounds It came from.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's a great story for that too. So with long drive, there's obviously some big differences. There's driver length is different. There's a grid as opposed to a course. What are some of the other main differences and rules? And then, what qualifies a bad shot? Is there one? Because I know you're just trying to get one on the grid for the most part.
First off, every club that we use is on the USGA conforming clubs list. Like all the club, whether they're OEM or component head companies, have to go through the USGA and be on the conforming clubs list. The shaft lengths, most guys are hitting 48. We have some guys that hit 46, 47. It just depends on what their preference is. But everything that we hit, anybody on the PGA Tour can hit. It's all USGA legal. A lot of guys will use 4-inch tees, so you'll see the ball teed very high. So that's a big difference because I don't think anybody on the tour uses a 4-inch tee. I don't even think Bryson uses a 4-inch tee. But a lot of guys will use a 4-inch tee. As far as rules that are different, I mean, obviously we're not golf, so we're not trying to put it in the hole. We're just trying to hit it as far as possible. We get 2.5 minutes to hit 6 balls, and the longest ball out of those 6 is what counts. And it's got to be in the grid.
Yeah. How wide is the grid? Did you mention that?
So it depends on where you're at. We've had some grids. Because it depends on the venue, and it's hard to find real estate for us where you can have 430, 450 yards long, and have it be wide enough. So I think the smallest or the most narrow grid I've ever hit on is like 38 yards wide, and the widest I think was the year I finished third at Worlds in 2012. It was I think they made it 70 yards wide that year, which I thought is pretty ridiculous. I know that the PLDA we basically make all the grids 55 yards wide.
Okay. Yeah, and there's definitely still luck involved like regular golf because you can always get random bounces and kicks and such. So
absolutely.
And speaking of PLDA, you've been very involved with that. How did it mainly come evolve? Obviously, we've had a pandemic. I'm sure that was one of the main issues. But let's talk about your involvement and basically how you wanted to get that going.
Yeah, I mean, the PLDA formed basically because of COVID. You know, Golf Channel owned World Long Drive, and when COVID happened in 2020, they postponed the season, and then you know the curve didn't really flatten out, so they decided to cancel the season, and then they wanted to sell it. And they were approached by a couple groups and basically didn't agree on a deal. And so basically that left a lot of people not really out of a job, but guys that wanted to compete or do this as a living. It didn't really give them an opportunity to do it. So my coach, another one of my teammates, myself and a couple guys decided to just, we're not going to let them dictate what we do. So that's kind of how the PLDA formed. World Long Drive is trademarked, so we can't call it World Long Drive. It's pretty much gone. So we came up with Professional Long Drivers Association. We hosted 4 events in North Carolina last year at the One Stop Power Shop, and then what we called a national championship, because it wasn't a world championship because of the travel restrictions. So we hosted a national championship in Memphis, and then 2021 came along. We've had 8 tour events with 8 different winners, which is pretty rare, which is great for us because it's a testament to guys coming into the sport, new guys coming into the sport, stuff like that. And we're 11 days out from our world championship. Then we're going to be hosting back in Mesquite, Nevada, which is the best grid in the world to hit on. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it on TV. If you haven't, check out the World Championship grid in Mesquite, Nevada. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so let's talk about Mesquite. Obviously, there's someone that normally isn't in long drive that's going to be joining you. Do you know the full lineup and how people should qualify, and what Bryson's going to need to do from this point on?
Yeah, I mean, we got right now. I think the last I saw, we expanded the field to get to 80. I think we have 5 spots left, maybe. But if we don't get there, we have plenty to run the event. I think we have 75 guys signed up. Bryson has done a lot for it. I mean, the fact that he's put his name on, not really put his name on it, but the fact that he's put his name out there to say that he's going to compete. I mean, he wants to compete. He got a kind of a taste. I know golf.com released a story yesterday with him, and he said his hands were ready. So he actually went to my coach's place in North Carolina called the One Stop Power Shop, and I mean, just for 2 days, just bang balls out and kind of got a taste of how, what a long driver goes through. We set up a mock tournament for him with the music, with speakers, with a round robin, stuff like that, and he got a taste of it. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. I think he'll compete though. A lot of people are doubting him, but he'll get through it.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely get through to top 25, and then at that point it'll get tighter competition, obviously. And
yeah, you're gonna have the cream always rises to the top, and then you got some guys that kind of sneak in there under the radar that are just solid, consistent guys, and then you got the top speed guys like your Berkshires and your Morton Borgmeyers and Josh Koches and Justin James. But nobody, I've been doing this since 2005, and I will tell you this: as many tournaments as I've won, I've lost 4 times as many, and it doesn't matter how fast you are or how great you're hitting it. Anything can happen, and nobody is unbeatable in this sport. That is the biggest thing. So that's one thing that Bryson does have going for him, is the fact that everything in this sport is unpredictable. So anything can happen at any given time.
That's for sure. Yeah, and obviously he's gonna have to deal with the Ryder Cup. Just a day prior, he's gonna be finishing it up, and then you said he's got a corporate event even in between that. So how do you think his schedule and everything going on is going to affect him?
I don't think it will. I mean, people that follow him on social media and stuff like that. I mean, he's a busy guy. Those guys stay busy, and a guy like Bryson, I think, is, he's one of those guys that likes to stay busy, that likes to be busy, and if he's not, he kind of, he doesn't really not know what to do, but I feel like he's just in his place of comfort if he's busy. So, but he's definitely flying in. He's going to fly in late, but he's going to hit on Tuesday. But he's up for it. He's ready. I mean, he's excited, and it's gonna be good. I think we wish him the best luck in the Ryder Cup, obviously, and the American team just to bring home the cup. I don't think we've won on American soil in like the last 3 Ryder Cups, I think.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so I don't think we've won on American soil in a while. So we wish them the best for sure. We hope that he has a better, because I mean, at the end of the day, although he's competing in the professional long drivers world championship, he is still a golfer, and that's where he makes his money. So, and he makes a lot of it.
Yeah, yeah, he does, and I think anyone would enjoy to be in his spot. Like, he obviously gets a lot of criticism. He's one of the most controversial players on tour. You either love him or hate him, but ultimately, how do you feel for it? Like, he does for the sport? Is he good? Is he bad? How do you view him
as far as on the PGA Tour?
Well, just in general, for the sport of golf, you know.
I think he's great. I mean, I think he's great. I mean, so my personal opinion about the whole Brooks, and I like Brooks Koepka too, so don't get me wrong. I love Brooks, and he's a Florida State boy, so I'm definitely down with Brooks. But Bryson, I feel like is great for the sport. I mean, the golf, to me, like when I first started playing golf, I was 38 years old, and I started playing golf when I was 9. So when I was 9 years old, golf was like a box. You know what I mean? Like, you had to stay within the box. They kind of looked at anything, outside of being a gentleman's gentleman as controversial. And I think that's where the game kind of got stagnant. It wasn't really bringing in new people. And I think now the fact that golf is in a boom, I think it's great. And I think he's part of that. I think it's partly because people are just they're not thinking outside. I mean, they're not thinking inside of one small box. I know there's a big controversy with the distance limiting thing and dialing back the golf balls, or like the equipment and stuff like that. The thing about it is, to me, is that the athlete's gotten better. You know what I mean? Like, think about it, is as good as, like, take football, for instance, right? You had guys like Terry Bradshaw and Troy Aikman, who were like great quarterbacks, right? Boomer Esiason, and like now you look at Tom Brady and Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, guys that were in the league for a very long time and were very successful. They just changed the game because the athlete got better, technology got better, they were able to train harder, they were able to train different. I mean, Tiger, look at Tiger. I mean, Tiger changed the game because he worked harder than anybody else, and that's what Bryson did. He worked harder than anybody else to change his body, to get strength, and to gain swing speed. And everybody is criticizing him for it, but a U.S. Open, and a whole bunch of top fives this year, and finishing. I think what he finished in the FedEx, 5th.
Somewhere right in there.
I can't remember, like 3rd, 4th, or 5th, but top 5 in the FedEx Cup. I mean, you can't fault him for that, and people that do, I think, are just on a jealous trip.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. Like, to build on that point, you see athletes evolve, and it brings notoriety to the game, regardless of who the athlete is. No matter what the sport, if someone is exceptional, you're gonna have criticism. Like, from you couldn't be the best player, and like Tom Brady, there's people that hate Tom Brady, and all he's done is evolve to be the world's oldest football player.
Yeah.
So
like the dude is unstoppable. I mean, I have him on my fantasy team. So he's my fantasy quarterback. Thank you, Tom, for getting me that. I did lose last week though, because what was it? Brandon Ayuko from the 49ers. I can't remember. He's a number one. He got no touches last week.
Oh, okay.
Not one pass thrown to him. So I got 0, and I lost by. He was projected at, I don't know, I think like 14, and I think I lost by 13. So go figure.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's a big disappointment.
Figure.
Well, I appreciate you doing this with us, and I guess one last question would be, where can we watch this, and how can we keep up with the rest of the PLDA?
So you can follow us on social media. On Facebook, it's just Professional Long Drivers Association. On Instagram, it is @ProLongDrive. Our website is www.prolongdrivers.com. We will be streaming the finals from Mesquite on our YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube, search Professional Long Drivers Association. Monday, it's from September 27th through October 1st. We have 140 total competitors from amateurs, ladies, senior division, and the open division, which is what Bryson will hit in. And on Friday, October 1st, we'll crown 4 champions. So in 4 different divisions. We got some sweet belts to go with it, some sweet championship belts. So those are actually being shipped out. They're finished. So I got pictures the other day. They're awesome. So that's where you can follow us. And like I said, we will live stream it so you can watch it. The action will start on Tuesday, September 28th.
All right, well, that sounds awesome. Best of luck to you in that. And, hopefully we'll see you wearing a belt here at Coastal and we're off soon. So
thank you.
Thanks again.
Once again, thank you, Landon Gentry, for being interviewed by our Skyler Chase. You can find Landon on Instagram at Poundsit. It's literally at Poundsit. Poundsit. He pounds the golf ball. It's his nickname. You heard in the interview how he got that. He's worth the follow. I mean, I don't know, Mike. I went through some of his videos, and this dude he murders the golf ball. I thought I hit the golf ball pretty hard, but I've never seen a backswing like this to where he curls his back to where it looks painful.
Yeah, no, I saw a video and his backswing definitely looks very uncomfortable, to say the least, for us at least.
Well, he does say in his bio that he is 197 years old in long drive years. So I'm not sure on the math on that, but that sounds like it's pretty old. But
I mean, I believe it. The way he's swinging that golf club, yeah.
It's his website also is www.poundsitgolf.com. Check him out again. Thank you, and hopefully we'll hear from you again soon. Hopefully a post-tournament. Mike, we have a segment we used to have last football season that I just thought about as I was going through some of my old pictures of our show updates on Instagram, and I thought we should bring it back. You remember what it is?
No.
Man, you stink. Game ball of the week.
Okay, all right.
We obviously have gone through a lot of misery so far with our team, so this is our chance to maybe pick someone from another team that we like, or someone in your bullcrap fantasy that you are so happy about that got you a lot of points. But I'm going to let you lead off, bro. Who you got for game ball of the week?
All right, so I'm going to go with 2 MVPs. I'm going to start with one, and then I'll let you go ahead because I just looked up because I know I heard this stat line earlier this week, and I had to re-Google it to see why when you said game ball of the week. So I had to re-Google it. So I'm giving a game ball of the week to Ohio State running back Travion Henderson.
Oh, yes, sir. Freshman, too.
Yep, freshman running back. And the reason why I'm giving him the game ball of the week is Ohio State looked like dog crap to start the game. Actually, I think they were losing at one point. I'm going to click on their schedule.
I believe
they were losing 6-3 to Tulsa at one point. Tulsa.
And Not Tulsa Welding.
Just God, if it was Tulsa Welding, that would have been a rough time in Columbus. But I'm giving him the game ball of the week, one game ball of the week.
Wait. Would Tulsa Welding wear the welding helmets instead of regular helmets?
Probably, I would hope so.
That'd be
Maybe
so
not.
Cool. Sorry. I just had the idea popped into my head. I had to get it out. So go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just shaking my head over here. Anyways, so Travion Henderson, he actually ran for the most rushing yards by a freshman in a single game. Wow. He ran for 277 yards on only 22 carries, and he had 3 touchdown runs. And his longest run, I believe, was 54, which was not a touchdown, unfortunately, but it helped the Buckeyes take control of the game and blow out Tulsa. And I think
that's a running game. Wow.
Yep, and I think Travion could be one of the next great Ohio State backs, like Ezekiel Elliott, Archie Griffin. Like I think he's that good.
Well, only time will tell. Again, yeah, you're right. He's only a freshman. We shall see. Good one. Come on, dude. Come on, son. Mine's pretty obvious. last night's game, the Green Bay Packers defeat the Detroit Lions behind Aaron Rodgers.
I honestly thought you were gonna pick JJ Redick after today's news.
He didn't do anything, like I can't give any stats for that because Aaron Rodgers put up 22 of 27, 255 yards, 4 TDs. Silences the critics that were all saying that he wasn't, quote, focused or didn't care or was just out of it.
Didn't you say something like that earlier this year?
Well, I said that for the first game. Yeah, he was knocking off the rust, is what I was saying.
Well, I was talking about mainly preseason during the draft time, but then again, you were really just angry that he was requesting a trade.
I don't remember. I could have not, but I don't know. Regardless, he teamed up with Devontae Adams, played a great game. It's nice to see a win like that instead of putting up 3 points. 35 is a lot better. And we sit atop the conference, or the NFC North, excuse me.
I was going to say, not the conference.
We have more points for than Chicago, so suck it, Chicago.
Well, they got Justin Fields now, so we'll see what happens in Chicago and Green Bay.
Oh, no, but Andy Dalton's still the starting quarterback, remember.
Matt Nagy's an idiot.
I actually talked to Kevin, loyal listener Kevin Hodges. Thank you for listening, Kevin. Katie, who listens as well, too, apparently. I'm happy to hear that, too. And she was talking to me about the episode. So
I still need proof, by the way. I need proof for listening.
She gave me proof, so I'll take it. But I asked Kevin last night, and I said, what are your thoughts on Matt? Because I was just like, I don't like the way he's handling the quarterback situation. And he's just like... my question was, you honestly like Matt Nagy? And he says, I've been leaning more towards no as time goes on. It's hard not to like him because he's such a likable guy. But no, as a coach, I don't like him. I'm like, wow, that sounds like me and Blake Bortles, or anybody with Blake Bortles. He's a nice guy, but he wasn't a very good quarterback.
Oh, really now?
Hey, well, don't tell Skyler, But, I mean, it's got that vibe. He disagreed because he thinks Bortles is kind of douchey. But whatever, it's okay. But he gave me a little more light on the situation of the quarterback situation in Chicago, but I'm just like, just out of curiosity. I was wondering what he thought. So thanks for your thoughts, Kevin, and thanks for listening, too. So go ahead with your second one, Mike.
Yeah, and just to touch on Trevion, just their other running backs I completely forgot. I don't know how I forgot about Eddie George and Archie Griffin, and also
you said Archie Griffin.
Did I?
Yeah.
Maybe I did. And,
you didn't say Eddie George, though.
Oh, yeah. And Maurice Clarett, one of my favorite backs coming out of college.
Yeah, he was nice.
But my next MVP game ball of the week goes to former Jacksonville Jaguars coordinator, Mel Tucker. He has Michigan State in the top 25 after having a terrible year last year, his first year at Michigan State due to the pandemic and whatnot. He came into Miami and upset the Hurricanes, which I thought they would because Miami stinks. They're overrated every year. And I don't care if Miami fans get offended. They suck. And, I mean, so does Florida State, but Miami is overrated every year since I can remember, since they won a national championship in, 2001. But, yeah, Mel Tucker deserves, I think, game ball of the week. He is 3-0, has the Spartans ranked for, I think, the first time in a while. And the funniest thing about Mel Tucker is that he wore shorts to the game on Saturday.
Yes.
He didn't even care because coaches usually wear pants to games, and he wore shorts. I thought that was hilarious. And granted, I don't blame him. He's in Miami Gardens, so it's going to be hot. So I think he deserves a game ball for not only saying fuck the dress codes and beating Miami, but also getting Michigan State back to relevancy and getting me two to three wins closer to hitting my bet from earlier this year.
Okay, well, you say I'm going back. Good for Mel Tucker. I'm happy for him. But you're going back. I'm going back to Miami being overrated. Who's more overrated every year, them or Notre Dame?
Miami.
Really?
Yes.
How?
They're always ranked, and they always end up not ranked by the year. They stink. Notre Dame at least somewhat stays consistent, and then they choke in when the lights are on them.
All right. Well, we just mentioned Kevin, and Kevin's not going to be happy about that. So this will be fun. I'm excited to see my text messages after he listens to the episode.
He can text me too. I don't know why he has to text you. He can text me.
Well, I mean, like, I'll probably put it in that group chat. I don't know.
Oh, fair enough. But no, Miami every year is a joke. Florida State's not much better. I'm not gonna say we're not.
Okay, but yeah, we're not talking about them right now. We're talking about Miami.
I know, but I just want to make sure that people know that I'm not just trashing Miami because I know Florida State stinks. But Miami every year they get hyped up for some stupid reason, and then every year they disappoint and end up unranked by the end of the year. They somehow make it back in the top 25, and they choke again. Notre Dame, they are ranked high. They stay in the same range. They go up the rankings due to other losses, and then whenever they get in the playoff, they get absolutely embarrassed because Brian Kelly cannot coach in the big games.
So is it not the same thing? I mean,
no, because at least Notre Dame stays undefeated. Granted, they play an easier schedule. They don't play an easier schedule. They play kind of the same schedule as Miami. Miami stinks.
Wow. Okay. Hey, you heard it here first. I mean, I'm just looking now because I'm super curious to see preseason poll for
Miami was ranked 14.
No, I'm talking about last year.
Oh.
It doesn't tell me.
I'm gonna type in right now. Miami
They were finished second in the Coastal Division. They were ranked against Florida, right?
Last year, yes.
Okay,
or 2 years ago, maybe, I don't know.
They finished 6 and 7. I'm looking at 2019. Sorry, I'm at 2019. That was Manny Diaz's first year, so you can't knock him for that, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm looking at Miami Hurricanes AP poll history. 2021, 14, 22, 14. 2020, 17, 12. Wait, no.
Okay,
17,
here you go. 2018. We're going off on a tangent here, but I don't care. They started the season number 8. They played LSU. They got waxed. They blew out Savannah State. They beat Toledo, so they're 21-16. And then by the end of the year,
that's my thing.
By the end of the year, they weren't ranked.
Hang on. You see, you just said they're 21 and then 16. They went up 5 spots because they beat Savannah State.
No, they went up 1 spot because they played Toledo, and they went up to 21.
Okay, but you said they went from 21 to 16. Or am I?
No. I was just saying numbers. They beat FIU to go to 16.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's even better.
Yeah, but they got blown out in the Pinstripe Bowl against Wisconsin, 35-3. But we can.
That's Wisconsin who put up 35 points, and they're struggling to put up 15 points in a normal game. God, Miami is overrated.
We could do this for hours. I don't even know. I might cut this, but if not, if you stuck around to the end, congratulations to you. Again, Kevin, I'm curious to see your rebuttal.
If you stuck around to the end, tweet at me and Dimes on Duval. # the U sucks.
All right. We'll be looking for that. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully next episode we'll be talking about some wins for our teams. We'll have Skyler back and we'll be rocking and rolling.
Do you want to make an early prediction for Sunday?
No, I don't. I don't, man. I don't.
I'm going to say DeAndre Hopkins goes for 175 yards receiving.
175 yards receiving. I don't even know where I put all these notes that I write down all your ridiculous things. I got to do a better job. I still have your.
Yeah, my Trey Lance take is not going to hit.
He's
not going to hit week 3, but he will start this year.
Okay, yeah, well, that's not the same. And then
I know
I can't do anything about that 3-year one. Trevor Lawrence just appeals Trey Lance.
That's too early to tell.
Yeah, well, Zach Wilson doesn't look like he's going to do very well. So
it's one game against Belichick. I'm not worried about Zach Wilson yet.
So thank you all for listening to another episode of Dimes on Duval. He's Mike Yashi. I'm Keith Manzi, and we'll catch you all next time.
Still love you, Trevor.